Welcome, welcome, one and all, from far and wide, both short and tall. Grumpy Grunts is back again. So, all the pretty girls, show some skin. Yeah.
So it's dope. Like your bars.
Yeah, no, it's a poem. It's a poetry slam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, welcome back. This is Grumpy Grunts Podcast, episode 2. And we're back again with all the latest and greatest bullshit. So, let's kick this off by saying we still are brought to you 100% funded by us because we love everyone that much that we work very hard to produce this product and bring veterans issues to the forefront. So, if there are any cool sponsors out there, though, you can find us on YouTube. And I'm going to bring this up. Everybody needs to subscribe and like all of our stuff. Only because we subscribe to your life and like you so much. So please click subscribe and please click like. Because it's on like Donkey Kong and we need views. If you love us, keep viewing it. You don't have to listen to the episode 1 or episode 2 one time. You can listen to it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, even 10 times. As many times as you like, because this is a free fucking country thanks to veterans like us. So keep viewing our shit. It's so simple. And we love it. We love it. We love it. Comment, like, critique us. Tell us we suck. We love everything. All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends about us. Tell your friends about us. And as always, you can find all the newest information, the news, everything, the short, the sweet, the beautiful, the meat, everything you need on GrumpyGrunts.com. Boom. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, man. Just about sharing the love. So lately, we haven't really been doing much.
Chilling.
Yeah, just chilling, man. It's been probably about a month since we've recorded anything. Well, not quite a month, I guess, but it's getting close. So we thought we might actually do something, and there's a lot really to talk about on this one. We recently, Joe released a video on YouTube about the 72-hour bug out bag, and you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Basically, I just decided to go over my personal bug out bag and just, show my friends and people things that they can, put into their bug out bag. And a lot of things I had that I started putting in my bag, basically I got from just sitting around the house. And I had some extra first aid stuff, so I just put that in the bag. And then I had some extra flashlights. And over time, I just started to get the extra stuff of things and batteries and things like that. And I just started putting it together. And I didn't have to go out and buy these big fancy bags and put all these cool kits together and spend a whole bunch of money. Over time, I just basically saved stuff and I put it together. I put my own bag together for a real cheap price. But basically, I just went over everything that I put in there, and there's more things that I could probably have in there. But that's the thing about prepping. You do it at your own pace. You don't want to strain yourself out by putting too much money in projects and not be able to complete them. So you just want to do it at your own time, and if you can, try to salvage things that you can reuse and repurpose. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to, you can go on YouTube and you can check out the video, and it'll give you ideas of what kind of things you might want to put in your bug out bag.
Yeah, and we'll be putting up a link on under the news section of our website at GrumpyGrunts.com. So you'll just go to the news section of that, and we'll have a link up there to the 72-hour bug out bag. But since Joe did the bug out bag video, we're talking about survival mentality and prepping and different philosophies. And I guess what we surmise that it's all really about your perspective. It's how you envision the breakdown of society. It's almost like everyone is writing a fiction book. and we're all just have this fictional story of what we see in our head is what the collapse of society will be. And whether that's by a hydrogen bomb,
Sun flares.
yeah, sun flare. I mean, there's it could be a disease epidemic. I mean, there's just so many different scenarios that you would prepare for. And unfortunately, I think that the truth of the matter is that you're never truly going to be prepared because you don't really know what your threat is. And even you can prepare in a general sense for survival, but if you were truly going to be efficient, you would prepare specifically for the scenario that was to occur. And because you can't know the scenario that will occur, you can't be 100%. And I think that a lot of it has to do with just guys like to posture, and guys like to think that they know what's going to happen, or that they have some type of confidence in their own plan. And I get that, man, but at the end of the day, nobody really knows what's going to happen. So survival mentality has to be more based on preparing yourself mentally, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that your mental preparation is the best defense. It should be all your time and effort. And this is why. If you continue to challenge yourself on a daily basis, when the extreme pressure and the extreme challenge of survival comes, you'll be able to mentally deal with it in a lot better way than most. What's going to kill a lot of people when society breaks down is going to be a mental break. It's going to be that they can't cope. They can't deal with it. And I think there'll be a lot of suicides. And I think a lot of people just... It's like, have you ever been in the woods by yourself? And I like to track deer, scout deer a lot, and I just like to go hike off trail and just grab my GPS and go by myself with a pack. But if you've ever really spent a lot of time in the woods, and you've ever gotten lost in the woods, that's like true panic, because it's hard to gain your sense of direction when you're in the middle of the woods, especially since we live in the eastern United States. The woods are, the forest's pretty thick, and it's, if you really get turned around and you've ever really truly been lost, what kind of fear I'm talking about, because it's freaking scary, man. But, and that it happened to me one time when I was scouting deer. I think what gets me though is that I with my military training, I understand how to reel myself back in. So when I felt that panic, I immediately took control back and realized that I have to maintain my composure. And once I did that, I found the stream, and I just followed the stream out, and it wasn't no big deal. But what I'm speaking to though is that ability to regain your composure because you challenge yourself on a regular basis and you put yourself through difficult things. That is what will save you more than anything else, in my opinion. And I think we live this is the easiest time in probably the history of the world. This is probably the easiest time to live. Everything is a convenience-based system. People don't even have to do anything anymore. Like, I got Dollar Shave Club, and I'm not endorsed by them, but I could be. But anyway, but I use them, man, and like, I don't have to go buy razors. They just come to my door. I don't have to order them. They just charge me and send them. You know what I mean? Like, and there's so many products like that now that you can get, and that's pretty much probably where the world's going to. Is all that drop ship stuff. You basically just order it and they just send you what you need, and you just set your orders up. I mean, you can order ahead at the grocery store and they'll put it together and you just go pick it up, pay for it, pick it up. Convenience is where all the jobs are going, customer service type things and into convenience. And I think people are just lazy, and people are fat, and people are sloppy. They're just soft.
Yeah.
And I think the reason a lot of veterans struggle is because that softness is not something we were trained to like. We weren't made. We weren't meant to take kindly to that. We were meant to get rid of that because there's no place for that.
Out.
You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of times people, man, they need a challenge. Like one of the reasons I think people are so unfulfilled in their lives are because they don't challenge themselves ever. They go to an office and they sit and stare at a desk. They're not active. They're not physical. You know, and then they go home and they sit in front of the television. They eat bullshit food. They drink bullshit drinks. They watch bullshit stuff on TV.
Yeah.
Their whole life is bullshit. They don't challenge themselves. They have nothing to look forward to. They don't have any goals or ambitions. They're existing on a fucking or a marshmallow cloud of fucking sugar and bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just, like, one of the biggest things that's helped me, man, is just if I fucking feel, like I do this on a regular basis. If I feel crazy after work, I feel stressed, I feel anxious, I come home and I fucking work out. And I swing my kettlebell around. You know what I mean? Even 15, 20 minutes, I'm better. And then I go take a cold shower. And I practice breathing under a cold shower because you get that shock reaction from the cold water. And it's just a discipline thing, man. Mm-hmm. You know, and it really actually does help to relieve my anxiety.
Yeah.
And it, you know, and I don't know why, but it just works for me. You know, so, but you have to challenge yourself in life, I think. I think human beings have to be challenged. It's something that's ingrained into us that we need a challenge. Mm-hmm. We'll get bored. Yeah. You know? So, again, man, with if anybody's going to take anything from the 72-hour bug out bag video, I think that you just take this, man. Prepare mentally. Mm-hmm. And continue to improve upon your processes because we're going to be posting more videos in the future and we're going to continue to improve upon our processes. And that should be a constant goal for your life. You should look at your life like a staircase. You should constantly be wanting to take the next step up. Mm-hmm. You know, because you have to move. You can't stay in the same place.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't work, you know. But I don't know, dude. I think it's hard for a lot of people to see that. All right, so we were talking about, just the other day we were talking about analyzing situations mm-hmm. and how I think it's our military training mm-hmm. that I think that's why we do it. But we were talking about how a lot of times we analyze and sometimes even overanalyze like pretty much everything in life and it'll be like you run scenarios in your head. It's almost like you're forming a battle plan. It's like in training, whenever you're training in the military, the training's always set up like, okay, this is the way that we're going to be moving. This truck, this truck, this truck, this truck. If we take contact from the front, this is what you do. If we take contact from the left, this is what you do. If we take contact from the right, this is what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you run scenarios, and so you know as a soldier, you know what your job is, and you know what to do in all these different scenarios. And you try to think ahead and plan ahead to see all the scenarios ahead of time. And so that way you can have a battle plan and know how to react to each scenario. Because if you can prepare for what your enemy is going to do and know exactly what you need to do for every one of your enemy's actions, then you'll be a much better soldier and you'll be able to handle the threat and probably suppress it. You know, that's the thinking behind it. And I think a lot of guys do that. You know, so I think a lot of that is repetition. Mm-hmm. But the thing that we try to take from it is you can apply that good thing about your training and that good thing that you still hold inside of you, you can apply it in a positive manner to your life. You know, so a lot of military guys, a lot of vets are really into prepping and really into the whole survival thing because it allows them to use that skill that they learned in the military that they developed and still hold and try to apply it to their civilian life, but most of the time unsuccessful because civilians are so unpredictable. But you can channel that into prepping and into survival. So it's a pretty neat thing overall, I think. So, but you were telling us about the 72-hour bag and the mentality and like how you approach.
Yeah. Basically, I just, for me, when I'm building my bag, I think about, all right, where I'm going to go and like, how long it's going to take me to get there and, where my location is. Like if I have a crew or a group we're going to be traveling together or living together, if we got a meetup point, a rally point, I'll plan my bag to get me there, and if it's going to take me 2 days walking,
Yeah.
then I'll have my bag ready for that. And, I'll have a little extra to get me through, but I don't want to over carry because I prefer to have some of my equipment already there in the location or have a lot of stuff already prepped and loaded in my vehicle. Yeah. And, that way, whenever I'm, have to bug out to my location, I can just go ahead and get there. I can download my gear.
Yeah, but let's back up though, because let's talk about location, like, and how that's even developed. Because in our thinking, we want a tract of land, a big chunk of land that we can develop as it's going to be our bug out location, but what are some other ways, like you can probably do it in like parks. I think that's a good option.
Yeah.
A lot of people will use parks, like if you don't have any land or you're not planning on that.
Yeah, I feel like definitely if you live in the city,
Yeah, stay away from cities.
you want to get away, as far as you can, and you don't have to try to drive 3 states over in a day. Like you can have multiple locations, and you can have rally points and meet up locations, and I feel like state parks and like national parks, places like that where there's a whole bunch of like reserve land and there's not a lot of access roads and stuff like that. It's going to be very it's going to be basically it's going to have a lot of wildlife because people are not going to be out hunting these places a whole bunch because usually a lot of people have their own hunting land and things like that. You can hunt in some of the state parks and.
Well, I think what it really boils down to is that there's a much better conservation effort of wildlife in places like federal and state parks. The wildlife is cultivated, so because they are publicly hunted, and I feel that you would have a much better chance of being able to track and kill an animal in an area that possibly you've hunted before. That's one of the reasons why. But the thing that I think that's fun about the whole survival and prepping thing, because you want to be careful not to get too extreme with it. But the reason I think it's fun for vets is because it gives you a reason to go out and do like military stuff. You know what I mean? Like because military, like you learn real quick that past the handshake and the thanks for your service, like people don't really want to see military shit. You know what I mean? They don't want to see it, and then when they see it, they kind of get scared and they get intimidated. And it's like in the office, like we were talking, like I do push-ups in my office, and where I sit out in a hallway, basically at the end of a hallway, because I don't have an office right now. And there's all these guys who are sitting in a room. There's probably 4 guys in a room that's right next to this little end of this hallway, and I do push-ups throughout the day. It helps me with my anxiety, my stress level. I'm not good at office work. I have a lot of energy all the time, and I'm just used to being out in the field, man, and doing shit, and so I do a lot of push-ups, and these guys have to constantly comment every time I do push-ups, because it's something that's different. Most people don't do that. It's out of the ordinary, and when they see it, when it's like push-ups and it's something where a man is displaying masculinity and they know that I'm a veteran, a lot of these guys I think feel a little bit emasculated. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I think that they feel intimidated or they feel something, or they wouldn't have to say something about it. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of veterans are aware of that, and I think a lot of veterans really desire to use their military skills because they freaking loved it. Like, I mean, we talk all the time. It's probably the best time in my life, and some of the best experiences and the best people that was all Army stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That was all in the Army and on duty, and I really, like, when I look back on that, I value those memories, and I value those experiences, and I believe that the Army made me the man that I am today, and I wouldn't have stayed out of prison if it wasn't for the Army, because I was just a wild freaking guy, man. You know, I was a wild party animal who didn't give a fuck about anything, and the Army taught me how to be a man, and it made me a good person. It made me care about morals and values. And, you know, I know not everybody shares that experience, but that's mine. You know, and I love every bit of the Army, and I miss it a lot. You know, but when I have an excuse to use my military skills, bro, I'm all over it, you know, because that's why I didn't grow up hunting, and I didn't grow up fishing, I didn't grow up camping, I didn't grow up doing any of that shit. I didn't grow up doing anything outdoors. My dad does not know how to turn a wrench. My dad does not know how to shoot a gun. He don't know how to camp. He doesn't know any of that shit. He's the only skills that he has, you know, is growing up was he liked to watch sports, he liked to drink, he liked to gamble. You know, and my dad coached baseball team, you know, but if it wasn't sports, he didn't really care about it. You know, he didn't know anything about it. You know, so these are all things that I've developed as my interests, and I've found that they coincide with my military training and the things that we did, and that's why Joe and I, you know, we work on now. One of the things we're working on is just going out to public parks, federal parks, and national park or state parks, and visiting these different places, hiking. We love to hike. We hike very regularly.
So
and camping, all that shit, you know.
Yeah, we're going this weekend.
Clifty Falls.
Clifty
Yeah,
Falls,
we're planning a trip actually. We're going up to Clifty Falls this weekend. It's in Hoosier National Forest. It's part of Hoosier National Forest. I haven't been there. I've heard a lot of good things about it. One of the cool things about Hoosier is that you can do primitive camping, where you can camp off trail. I think there's certain rules. You have to be so many feet off of a trailhead, so many feet off of a trail, but you can basically camp anywhere you want to. And that's one of the things that I really like about a lot of federal parks, because you have that ability to, and because I do like primitive camping. My favorite way to camp is just to string a hammock between two trees and throw a bug net over you and call it a night. You know, that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah,
but
unless you have to pack out there.
Yeah, you know, I like to travel. I mean, I'm not against humping. You know, I'm not against humping some gear. You know, I take definitely what I need, and I overpack a little bit, but I also do consider the weight of the pack. So one of the things we like to do is hike, because one of my favorite things to do in the Army was road march. I love doing ruck marches, man. I love to just, I liked everything about it. I liked walking in formation, in a giant formation, you know, stagger column on either side of the road. I loved being at Knox and marching those big hills, and I loved feeling that challenge and feeling the burn of the rucksack straps on your back, and feeling how heavy, you know, that 8-pound weapon was. You know, it became like a cinder block. You know, and the challenge of walking the hills and going that far, and it fucking hurt. And I remember doing a 15K, and it fucking killed me. We went up and down 3 different hills.
Yeah, it's all day.
And I remember that the incline on one of the hills was so steep, and the pack was getting so heavy that I literally just leaned forward and reached my hand out to catch myself at one point, because I was leaning so far forward to try to go up this hill. And the thing that was so cool about it, man, because, you know, we had berets. We were still wearing berets. Everybody was wearing the black berets, you know. And the thing that was so cool about it is when you knew when you got back, you got your beret. And it was the coolest fucking feeling. Yeah. And though it hurt so bad, it felt so fucking good to complete it and say, yeah, I fucking humped a 15K with a 60-pound pack. That's something that not a lot of people can say that they've done. And the challenge is what is that's the best part of it. It's challenging yourself, going through the pain and the struggle, and coming out and getting the payoff, the gratification. That's what builds fucking character.
Yeah. Yeah, I know our 15K man broke people down. They were basically falling out left and right. Some people from heat exhaustion, and some people just where they just couldn't do it, man. I mean, I understand that everybody's body's built different ways, but is hit like you said, a lot of those hills, man, it'll tear people apart, dude. And they had one of those little service trucks following everybody, picking everybody up and taking them back, and it's just like it's crazy because you have to complete it to get your beret. So it's it's one of those things you have to dig deep and like you said, complete your task at hand. So
yeah, man, but don't you think that's a mental thing though? When people break, like I think in my life, because I believe that the human body is capable of probably 10 times more than the mind thinks it is. Mm-hmm. I think that pain is a level that is adjusted. Mm-hmm. And as you go through more pain, your tolerance for pain becomes higher, your breaking point rises higher and higher as you challenge yourself throughout your life. However, I think that's different. The level of pain and the level of quit for everyone is different because of their mental state. Mm-hmm. And I think people's minds break far before their bodies break. And in my life, I highly doubt that I've seen many people physically break. Like, as an NCO, disciplining soldiers, I smoked a dog piss out of soldiers till they fucking puked. Mm-hmm. But they didn't physically stop after they puked because they weren't allowed to. Yeah. And I've never, I've made people mentally quit, but I've never, even as an NCO, broken someone completely physically to the point where they could not go on, and it was only because of physical. Mm-hmm. I believe that mentally they broke far before, and most of the time the punishment's only about breaking them. Mm-hmm. It's not really about anything else. You just have to break them because you build character by breaking. Mm-hmm. It's just like like a tempering steel, man. Mm-hmm. It's like you gotta put it in the fire. Yeah. You gotta feel that heat. You gotta feel that burn. You gotta feel that pain, and then you get better. Afterwards, you get stronger.
Yeah, I know. I was always afraid of the drill sergeant. Like, I was afraid to fail because I knew that if you failed at a task, you would get yelled at. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? So, like, that was my motivation because I didn't want to get yelled at by the drill sergeants. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right. So, when they were talking, I'm like, eyes front, looking at them, listening to what they have to say, and, looking for them, ready for them coming. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Always, just being...
Well, those were real fucking men. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those, at the time that we went in, it was the height of the troop surge in Iraq. In 2005, Petraeus was in charge, and they needed boots on the ground, and we just came of age at that point. But those were real fucking men who had been through some shit. I know that one of my drill sergeants did a combat jump in Iraq, and I had Ranger qualified drill sergeants, and everybody had done tours. I mean, everybody. And looking back on it after I'd done my tour, and looking back on like my behavior, their behavior, mental state, mental perspective, everything, I can see why they were all so fucking crazy. Because I totally get it now. But at the time, a young man, in my late teens, I didn't really get it. At the time, and I just tried to keep my fucking mouth shut. I just tried to stay out of the limelight. Like, I remember I got like the second highest PT score in my platoon at the end of basic training, and when the drill sergeant was like calling out names, and they called my name out, they're like, who the fuck is that? Like, they didn't even know who I was because they never really had to say my name because I kept my fucking mouth shut. Yeah. And I just did what I was supposed to do, and I just held myself to a really high standard and tried really fucking hard. And it paid off, but I didn't even know what real men were until I got in the Army. And a lot of these dudes are real fucking men. You know, and that's the funny thing about this world, man, because America is always saying, there's no men anymore. There's no real men. Yeah, well, there's no real men because real men aren't allowed to be real men. Like, people want real men, but they don't want real men who act the way real men have to act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the PC culture is so invasive that it's just a whole bunch of people nowadays, man. They're all thinkers. Everybody's a good idea fairy. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has all these ideas and all these thoughts, and everything looks so fucking good on paper. But guess what? Plans break down. Real life is messy, and you have to do things outside of what is perfect. If human beings were perfect, then everything that's been put on paper, like in communism, would work. But it doesn't. Because human beings are selfish in nature. That's my belief. Most people out there are going for self-gratification. They're taking the easy way out. They're stopping as soon as they feel pain. That's the way they are. They're not living life for a greater purpose or a moral high ground. Like, they're just existing. You know, going through the fucking motions, man. You know. So, that's what's so cool about the whole survival thing, though, and going out and, like, practicing hunting skills and practicing farming skills, practicing fishing skills, practicing camping skills, going out and hiking, and putting your fucking one foot in front of the other, moving through the woods, and just doing all those things. You can go out with a compass one time. You can go out with a GPS one time. You can go out with a map and do like land nav and plot freaking points if you want to, man. There's so many different ways you can just go on a hiking trail and practice skills and enjoy yourself and use skills that you learn in the Army that you like to do in a positive way that's not going to make you a target. You know? And it's good because you can do it with your buddies. It's something that you guys can bond on. And I think that a lot of men, when they get out of the military, a lot of vets struggle with the lack of the brotherhood. You know, because anytime I see a veteran at the VA, I have no problem talking to him. Because we already have something in common. You know what I'm saying? To start off, we can be friends. We can be friendly and talk about anything. You know? Because plus you learn how to bullshit because you're sitting around all the fucking time. You know? Waiting for shit. So
hurry up, wait.
Yeah, man, but I think it's good to plan things and do things with other guys because you do lose that brotherhood when you get out. Everybody goes their separate way and just disappears inside themselves. You know, and we've seen it with our buddies. You know, we've had a lot of suicide that we've been exposed to with our friends, and a lot of our good friends, our best friends in the military, are dead. You know, and not because they died in combat, but because they died at their own hand. You know, but I understand. I get it. You know, I get it. So what can we do? The only thing you can do is try to find ways to mitigate that. You know, and I think that guys need to be around guys. They need to challenge each other. They need to bust each other's balls. They need to be rough. They need to be able to talk however the fuck they want to talk. And nothing goes any further than that. Because this world is so fucking judgmental. You're under a fucking microscope with everything you fucking say and do. Nobody is giving anybody any slack anymore. And it's ridiculous. And it's exhausting. And it's so hard for veterans because we understand how the world really is. You know? It's like you can love we was watching that Little Dicky video earlier.
Yeah.
Pillow Top.
Yeah,
when he's talking about the wolves. Yeah, wolves are beautiful, but if you're out in the woods in the wintertime and you see a wolf, you won't think it's so beautiful when it's tearing you fucking apart because it's hungry. You know, everything's different when you really have to experience it. And veterans know that.
Yeah.
But that's why you gotta have a fucking break, man. You gotta go out and be a man and go in the woods and do your shit. Plus, it's peaceful. I feel at home there.
Yeah. You can definitely, you know, figure out anything that you know, I know a lot of times whenever I have a bad week at work or whatever, and then we go hiking on the weekend, man, it's like such a stress reliever. It's like everything, we come back and it's like we can get the rest of our weekend started, you know what I'm saying, and have a good time. But, you know, until one day rolls around and we got to do it again. But yeah,
Fuck yeah, dude. Your fucking endorphins are kicking in. You're fucking walking. You're out in the woods. It's peaceful. You don't have to see all those bullshit fucking people.
mm-hmm.
You know? You're just experiencing life. You're living. You're challenging yourself. You're sweating.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for you, man. I mean, there's nothing. You can't lose with exercise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't fucking lose with it.
Yeah.
You know, PT's never a bad thing. You know, and it's good to do it because don't be a fucking fat slob.
Yeah.
Nobody has any excuse to be a fat slob. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm not like trying to like shame anybody, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that when I came home, I did what everybody else did. I went inside myself. I gained 60 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
I was the biggest I had ever been. I still wear the stretch marks from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I understand what it's like to look at yourself in the mirror and say you're a fat piece of shit. What happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
I understand what that's like. The only fucking difference is I decided to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people can sit there and say, yeah, but you don't understand. It's hard. It's easier said than done. No, I get that. It is easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
But easier said than done doesn't mean impossible. Just means it's fucking harder to move your ass.
Yeah.
It's fucking harder to get yourself started when you've dug yourself such a big goddamn hole.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps because ain't nobody gonna fucking give it to you. You're not fucking special. Stop thinking your case is special. Stop thinking that you are totally different than everybody else who has lost weight in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you're not, man. You know, once I realized that, I could put my fucking boots on the ground and start moving. You know, and all I did was fucking do the things that the Army taught me to do. Eat right, work out, and try to fucking sleep some.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Move around.
Yeah, man. Just fucking do something. Like, you don't have to go out there and be the best. You just have to try. As long as you keep trying and don't quit, you won't lose. Because the game is not about getting to a certain point. The game is just as long as you keep trying, you win. Mm-hmm. Winning is trying. It's that simple. So if you have to get yourself up an extra 45 minutes to fucking move around, then do it. Because let me tell you, you're not going to be able to just get up and go out in the woods and do all these things that you want to do without keeping yourself in good physical condition. Mm. That's why the Army PTs, because it is necessary to be in good physical condition to do those types of things.
Yeah, you definitely gotta.
You have to
stay in shape.
You study for tests, don't you?
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I enjoy it when we do off trail hiking. When we go deep woods and go through the brush and have to actually make our way through and navigate. You know, I like that because it takes us back to basic training when we had to go out there and field exercises. And they just give you a compass and like, all right, you gotta find these points and get back before it sundown.
But didn't you like fucking just running a piece of 550 between two trees, throwing your fucking poncho liner over top or your poncho over top of it, and just throwing your little sleeping your PT mat down on the ground, and just rocking out right there, dude, in your sleeping bag.
Yeah,
I love that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
hasty encampment like that, dude. That shit's fun, man, and moving. You can do that in federal parks.
Yeah.
We're gonna this weekend. We're gonna go down to Clifty Falls. We're gonna hike all day long. We're gonna just make just a hasty little camp with some hammocks. If it's gonna rain, we have a small tent as well that we can carry in a backpack that breaks down it's probably 18 inches long. It's a cylinder bag, probably 4 inches wide. It can easily fit in a large pack. I don't usually when we go hiking, I don't typically use like steel framed bags because we're just not putting enough miles out for that to really be necessary. Mm-hmm. I usually use like assault pack style backpacks with these adjustable, they're like bendable composite bars in the very back of it, and it has a chest strap. I mean, they're not the most sturdy pack, but they're effective for just a couple days in a quick camp, and that's usually how I like to roll because I don't really need a steel frame pack for an overnight trip. But we're planning on just kind of hiking down. Hopefully, it'll be a little warmer. It's only been like 80. I'd rather it be like a real hot day and we can cool off in the falls because you can swim and there's places you can jump off the falls and swim around up there. It's pretty neat, man. And I think we're just gonna make a hasty camp and, like I said, throw some hammocks and skeeter nets up and just rock out like that. We usually we'll make a little fire probably, but we normally don't. If we're gonna do that shit, we'll just take like MREs and dry goods, like power bars, shit like that. The biggest thing is water, but we use life straws. Those are really cheap and effective, and they're like good for a crazy amount of gallons. I'd have to Google it because I don't even remember because it's such a wild number of how many gallons of water those things can filter before you have to change them out. But that's all cheap shit, man. It's cheap. It's cheap to get going just hiking. You don't have to invest a lot of money in these things to really have a good time. And the cool thing is, a lot of these federal parks. I mean, like the state parks are cheap, but the federal parks are free. Pretty much all of it. And there's so much you can do. So it's a really cool thing. How many?
1,000 liters.
1,000 liters.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's a ridiculous amount for that little tiny little straw. 1,000 liters. How many gallons is that? Does it have a gallon conversion on it?
Let me check.
Let's see. I'm not really good. Wait, what's that say? Hold on. Life straw personal filters can provide clean water for up to a year. The Life Straw family filters a maximum of 18,000 liters. Wow, that's a whole lot.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't actually. Well, just
I'm gonna Google what 1,000 right now.
no, just Google liter to gallon conversion. Yeah, and we'll see. Yeah, I'd like to know in gallons because I think that'd give people a much better idea. We don't really use liters. I mean, I could say like, man, it's 500 2-liter bottles, but it's a little. I don't know. Well, I can kind of envision that. I guess 500 2-liter bottles of water that thing can filter before you have to replace it.
What's it? I thought it was at Google.
All right. Well, while Joe works on this, the Life Straw, though, I think that's probably one of the most valuable things that you can get, and I would buy multiples of them. I see them on sale all the time. I think I got mine on Groupon. It was like a 2 for deal, probably. But if you follow like Amazon and you do Groupon, different things like that, you'll see them from time to time. And stuff like that's cheap. I just go ahead and buy more of it when I see it on sale or I see a good deal. I just buy more of it because you can't lose with having a bunch of Life Straws. You can't lose with having a bunch of medical supplies. You can't lose with having a bunch of seeds. I mean, you can get these little seed kits. You can get all this stuff, and a lot of that stuff's real inexpensive, and it's real small. It doesn't take a lot of room to store. So it's pretty cool. 264 gallons is what 1,000 liters equates to. So, yeah, it's 264 gallons. It's quite a bit. That's quite a bit of water. So yeah, I like those things, man. The Life Straws. I'm a real big fan of those. Also, I got a mosquito net for just like a military surplus one from like a little flea market. That's like a great place to find gear, and especially since like if you were in the military, you're already familiar with it, so it's even easier to use it. Because you already had it in your TA-50 issue or whatever. And the hammock I think I paid $9.99 at Walmart, and it fits in a bag that's probably no bigger than a large cup from like McDonald's. Like it's a real tiny. It's probably smaller. It'd probably fit inside a large cup from McDonald's. To be honest with you, it's a really tiny bag, and it just comes with a little nylon synthetic material hammock that has some cordage and S hooks on it. And I just took a couple lengths of 550, gutted them, wrapped them, and tied an anchor knot in like a figure 8, and just put the S hook on that. And it cinched up to the tree once my weight was put in it. I just hung it real high, and it worked great, man. I mean, it works really good, yeah. And I just run like a length of cordage over top of the hammock, just a straight length of cordage, and just do a little A-frame with the mosquito net. Because I don't really care if I get bit a little bit, but I don't want to get bit a lot. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Mosquitoes can kill you, especially if you're by a water source, man. Mosquitoes can kill you at night. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I don't want to get all bit up.
Yeah, but it sometimes, man, it fucking beats sleeping on the ground, and it beats carrying a tent around, you know what I mean? So, but I definitely do want to encourage people to get up off the fucking couch, man, because that's one of me and Joe's biggest problems is we sink into these holes sometimes, and we just can't get off the fucking couch.
Yeah, I mean, I think we ran into a little bit in between the first and second podcast.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably why we aren't doing one until now. I mean, we both kind of went into a couple week depression, man. I don't know what it was. I don't know why these things happen, but
most of it has to do with work stress.
Yeah, it's usually stress. But that's the thing, if we could just get ourselves motivated enough to get off the couch and do these things that we're talking about, then it would mitigate the stress. And we know that, but it still, we struggle with the same thing everybody else does. You can know it all you want to, but sometimes that knowing it doesn't get your fucking feet moving. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It still doesn't motivate you enough to get your ass up. And that's when you got to remember, false motivation is better than no motivation. So you got to fucking push yourself. And that's that mental preparedness, that survival mentality, is you have to learn how to push through that difficulty. Even when you don't want to do it. When everything inside of you doesn't want to do it. You have to learn to be able to push through it. That bullshit that when your mind's like, I don't want to fucking get up, you have to force yourself to get up. You have to stay in the fight. And you have to use the same philosophical bullshit that the Army taught you, a way of thinking about it. You have to use that to think about it like that, man. You got to stay in the fucking fight, so get off the couch. It's okay that you gain the weight, but it's not okay if you don't try to lose it.
Yeah.
Because you're not staying in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know that's definitely one thing that I struggle with is, on both of my deployments I came back, and from after both of them I put on quite a bit of weight, and I think with both of it, both times it has to do with a lot of depression and not wanting to get out and do anything for myself, and not taking the time to plan anything. I'm just allowing myself to be in these funks just because it was easier, and
it is easier. It's easier
way
choice,
out,
yeah.
and
it's a bullshit way out, man.
Yeah,
it's not a warrior's way out. That's for sure.
And luckily, both times, there's been times where I get motivated and I lost the weight, and I feel like I need to definitely get up a notch so I don't get back to where I was, because I know that the things that I want to do out of life and the things I want to do with my time, I can't do if I'm not healthy, and I don't have a healthy mindset. And I think that's why we try to eat a little bit healthier now, even if we're not working out as much, as we don't have enough time to work out like we would like to. Eating healthy multiple times, majority of your week, besides getting hamburgers and stuff all the time. Because I know, when I first got back, I'd be like,
all you want to do is eat all the shit you have been able to eat.
Yeah. And that's one of the problems is you
that's what it is,
do it in access, and you just put all this weight on, and then once you realize that you did, and now you're all sad and depressed.
Right.
You feel like you can't get it off.
It's a vicious cycle.
You really just have to get into that cycle of getting up, staying with it. And it's just like you did in the military. You got up and did PT. If you had to get up and do it before you go to work, you did that in the Army. Get up and do it.
Yeah, man. And I think that the way we started was we just said we weren't going to try to put limitations too much on ourselves. We were just going to say, look, so this is what we did. Monday through Friday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we ate healthy meals. And if you truly don't know what healthy food is, you might need to seriously think about going to the VA and talking to the nutritionist. Because the VA at your primary care does have a nutritionist, and you should be talking to them on your callback every year anyway. If they're not doing that for you, then they're not doing the right thing, because they should be asking you if you want to see the nutritionist every time that you have your yearly call back, get your blood work done. So I encourage you to talk to the nutritionist and ask a lot of questions, because that's what they're there for, and to your benefit. So ask as many questions as you fucking want to, and don't let them walk out the door until all your questions are answered. Because if you really don't know about what good nutrition is, you need to learn. Because I'm not going to go into it here. That's something that you're going to have to find on your own, because if you care about it enough and you want it, you'll fucking go to the lengths to do it. But we would just eat right Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends we'd allow ourselves to cheat. And a funny thing happened is the first month we would gorge ourselves on the weekends on all the nasty fucking bullshit food. We would get French fries and hot wings and soda and pizza and beer and whiskey and just all the nasty fucking bullshit that made us fat in the first place. We'd gorge ourselves. And then Monday would come and we'd hit the gym and we'd be feeling like shit. We would literally just be shitting all day long and feeling like crap because of the weekend and what we did to ourselves, you know? And we'd go, and our first workout on Monday was so difficult.
Yeah.
And what actually happened over time is, because we allowed ourselves to cheat, and because we allowed ourselves to be irresponsible and be gluttonous, we chose to not do that anymore, because we felt the negative consequences of those actions, and we decided ourselves that we didn't want to make our Monday workout that fucking hard, and we didn't want to feel like shit all day. So on Saturday and Sunday when we could cheat, we don't.
Yeah.
You know, not nearly. Sometimes we still do. You know,
Yeah,
because
we might eat out.
Everybody
like
cheats,
meal,
man.
And then the
but
other two we were cooking.
what I'm getting at is that we're not gluttons. Like, even though I might go to Wendy's and get a burger, I'm not getting fucking the biggest triple, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not getting the biggest burger. I'm not getting a giant fucking French fry. I'm not ordering 2 other sandwiches off the dollar menu. You know, I'm not ordering 20 chicken nuggets at McDonald's. I'm getting a reasonable portion. And then a lot of times, if I eat at Wendy's, I'll get a grilled chicken sandwich and fries. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to cheat, but what you have to understand is you don't want to be a glutton. You know, don't overdo it. But when you're changing yourself, allow yourself to overdo it a little bit. Because when you feel the negative consequences of overdoing it, if you go Monday through Friday and you're feeling great on Friday because you've been eating right and you've been exercising and you've been sleeping and your body is cleaned out and you feel great, and for once your hormone levels are right again and you're feeling good about yourself, and then you go and you eat like shit, you will feel more depressed on Monday morning. Because your body's not getting the fuel that it needs. Your body's not running right, man. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a scientist. I don't really know. All this is anecdotal, but I truly believe that your hormone levels as a man are influenced by your diet and exercise. And if you're not doing the right things, your test levels are going to drop. And you're going to be much more depressed and much more anxious because you don't have enough testosterone in your system. And I also believe that if you don't do the right things in your 20s and 30s and set yourself up for success and get in these habits of eating right and relaxing and going out and challenging yourself and working out, you won't fucking do it in your 40s and 50s when you really need it. Because your endocrine system will take a tank in your 40s, and then you'll really be up shit's creek without a paddle, because you won't have any testosterone, and you won't have the fucking skills and the habits to create it. And it's going to be a big problem. You know, so think about these things now, man. You know, because every veteran's mental health is the most important thing. You know, you only get one life. You only get so many times around the sun, and you don't want to fucking waste it being fat, out of shape, and you know, sick and nearly dead. You know?
Yeah.
Live your fucking life. You fought for your country. Get off the couch and live your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's for sure.
But I think this is going to be a good place to wrap up episode 2. And once again, Grumpy Grunts, man, we love doing it. And we love everybody who listens, because you're the whole reason that we do this. We do this for us, but man, we do it for other people. You know, Joe and I, we feel like not enough vets are speaking up and trying to band together, and that's what we want to do, man. All we want to do is create a community of love and kinship, and we want to help each other. So I encourage everybody who listens, post some comments about your survival mentality. Post some comments about how you're coping, what you're doing outdoors, how you're coping with your PTSD, or even ask some questions, man. If you aren't into this and if this is new, but it sounds exciting and it sounds like something that might interest you and that you might want to do, ask some questions because I'm sure there's a whole community of people out there who will be more than happy to give you some pointers, and we'd love to hear your comments and give you some pointers ourselves. So again, guys, please subscribe and like on our YouTube channel, and go to our website at GrumpyGrunts.com, and you'll find all the latest news. We're going to be getting a link up to the 72-hour bug out bag under the news section of GrumpyGrunts.com this week. And I just really encourage everybody to get off the couch this week, get outside, and start moving, because it'll really pay off. All right.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. That's a wrap.